What is up? Welcome to another episode of Broken Teeth Records, and today we're going to travel back to the year 1975 with Kiss Alive. There were already 3 albums in around that time, but they were considered commercial failures. So their manager at the time said this: okay, we need to do a make it or break it mission. So either do another album and go over production, or do a live album. And Paul and Gene said, all right, let's make it or break it. Let's do a double live album. And so they did. So around that time, you had the original lineup with Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss. And around that time, they also had Kiss, the self-titled. It came out in 1973. Then Hotter Than Hell and Dress to Kill, which Dress to Kill featured their biggest hit up to date is Rock and Roll All Night, which it was cool to me as a kid, but as I got older and just heard it all the time on the radio, I'm just like, ugh. So I'm more into the deeper cuts. Now this is a very, very great piece of rock and roll history because not only this was shot at a different stage, not at Cobo Hall, which was there, but it features 2 vinyl records, which means they have many albums ranging from their first albums. And on the back of this cover right here, these two were actually paid to represent Kiss because these were really big fans of them at the time. And from what I heard from a friend of mine, he said, oh, those guys go to like hundreds of shows now and still do. But the reason why it was a make it or break it album is because you got to think at the time when you're 3 albums in and they're considered commercial failures, you're just like, okay, what do we do? What are we doing wrong? What do we got to do? And Kiss was known to do like major pyrotechnics, and they were really, really into like the makeup and their costumes. And they said, all right, either we're going to continue this little revolution that we're going, or we forget it. And knowing Paul and Gene, they said, fuck that. We're going to keep going, man. Because we want to be somebody. We want to be the big thing of rock and roll. And so they did. The reason why this is such a really important album, because at that time, like, live albums were considered suicide missions. And when you really think about it, it's just that when you're into that kind of business and you're already 3-4 albums in and they're considered commercial flops, there's only one last thing you can do, is either you could go over budget in a studio or you can make a live album. So to me, I give this album I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 horns. And this video was requested by a friend of mine named Trevor Eastman, who is a very dear friend of mine and also a big, huge Kiss fan, like myself. And tomorrow's video, it's actually going to be a surprise. And it was also a request. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and give a thumbs up if you want more.